Hello everybody. So today's alteration is going to be really minor, but I'm hoping that it'll have a significant impact on how often I wear this clothing article. So sometime back in 2021, I thrifted this cute gray plaid miniskirt and it fits me quite well, but I often find myself wanting to wear it with a belt. Unfortunately, it does not have any belt loops, and I have tried just like wearing a belt over it, and it looks super awkward because the belt will like move around on my waist and it just like looks garbage. So I want to put some belt loops on it, and I was kind of thinking like, how could I do it? I don't have any fabric of this kind, and I don't want to just put something random on there because it's just going to stand out and it's going to look awkward and weird. But thankfully, there's a little bit of excess fabric in the skirt that I want to use for the belt loops. This excess fabric is going to be found inside of this like small piece of lining on the inside on the top of the skirt. So I'm thinking I want to take out this piece of lining and I want to replace it with something maybe similar, but like some kind of another fabric. And I want to take this lining and turn it into belt loops and then add them onto the skirt. All right, let's give this a try and see if this will work. Or I might just ruin the skirt. So I began by seam ripping the waistband or the inner lining of the waistband from the skirt, and it literally took me like an hour. Also, sorry about all these camera parameters on the screen. I didn't realize that was getting recorded. I thought it was just something that I could see on the screen, but it wasn't getting captured. I questioned my decision to do this at least 7 times while I was seam ripping, but alas, I finally got the lining out and I seam ripped the 2 seams on the sides that were connecting the 2 lining pieces as well. I then used these lining pieces as patterns to cut out their replacements from this gray fabric that I've had for literally 12 years. It got damaged in a small flood that I had in my apartment when I lived in LA and now has permanent stains on it, so I think this is actually a great place to apply this fabric, like as a lining somewhere where it won't be seen. I pinned the original pieces on and just started cutting. I feel like the more I sewed, the more unhinged my sewing is becoming. To reinforce the new waistband, I added a layer of interfacing, again using the waistband pieces as patterns and pinning them to the interfacing and then just cutting around the shapes. I then ironed the interfacing onto the fabric pieces, but I did it off camera because I don't want to show you my ironing board. Then I used my serger machine to overlock all of the edges except for the top one on every piece of the waistband. After overlocking the waistband pieces, I attached the 2 rear halves to each side of the long front piece with a straight stitch. And then I pressed the seams flat. Now that the waistband is done, I moved on to attaching it to the skirt, and for a second I was worried that it wasn't going to be long enough, but somehow it worked out. To ensure that it was symmetrically attached, I began by first pinning it at the zipper halves, and then I folded the skirt in half and pinned it in the front, at like halfway in the front. And then I just started like spreading out the waist of the skirt to the length of the waistband and just like pinning it throughout. Then I attached the waistband to the skirt with a serger overlocker as usual. And for the final step of attaching the waistband, I needed to sew it at the zipper. And for this, I used a zipper foot with my sewing machine. It actually turned out pretty good. I think I even like this waistband better than the original because it's like, it seems a little bit sturdier. All right, onward to the belt loops. I started with the longest piece of the old waistband lining and I trimmed it into a rectangle. And based on the width of a typical belt that I would wear, I figured I could get 4 belt loops out of it. Then I trimmed the smaller pieces of the old waistband into rectangles to the length of the belt loops that I'm planning for. And as usual, I used my serger overlocker to close the seam of each rectangle inside out. Then I turned these tubes that I just made to the correct size by attaching a safety pin to one end and then threading it through the inside of each tube and kind of pulling it out and flipping it inside out. Unfortunately, I lost my camera footage of it somehow, but thankfully I had my phone recording as a backup. Now to finish the belt loops, I did 2 top stitches on each edge parallel to the length of the belt loop. It's so satisfying to sew one long straight stitch. I chopped up the long piece into 4 as intended, and I ended up with 6 belt loops that I then pinned symmetrically to the waist of the skirt. I started with the front belt loops, and then I placed the 4 in the rear in such a way that they wouldn't be visible from the front. Lastly, I use a zigzag stitch to simulate a bar tack to attach each belt loop at the top and the bottom of it. And now, let me show you the transformative power of belt loops. The first outfit, without a belt, incomplete, uninteresting, flavorless. With a belt, ethereal, sublime, celestial. For this outfit, I wore a baby blue top with iridescent bell sleeve shrug, both of which I made right before Christmas of last year. Very sentimental. A necklace that I also made around the same time. And Banana Republic iridescent heels that I've had for about 6 years. And the belt I thrifted at Desiree Industries in Sacramento back in like 2015. Next outfit, without a belt, uninspiring, drab, lacking. With a belt, whimsical, romantic, mercurial. For this outfit, I wore my favorite pink top with sheer bell sleeves that I made last summer out of thrifted fabric. I added pink socks and these polka dot sandals that I've had for like 5 years and never wore them anywhere. The belt, I actually made it myself from upcycled little scraps of spandex fabric that I had left over from various projects. Next outfit, without a belt, ordinary, rudimentary, dull. With a belt, adventurous, intrepid, fierce. For this outfit, I just wore a simple beige crop top, my favorite Doc Marten boots, a thrifted necklace, and just a plain thrifted leather belt. Next outfit, without a belt, unfocused, unfinished, lazy. With a belt, centered, curious, purposeful. For this outfit, I wore a tank top that I made out of a really old t-shirt, some knee-high socks, Free People sandals, a necklace with tiny hearts on it, and the belt is one of my recent Goodwill bin finds. Next outfit, without a belt, mundane, fatigued, plain. With a belt, captivating, charming, delightful. For this outfit, I wore a milkmaid top that I made out of an old t-shirt for my trip to LA last November. Another one of my sentimental pieces. And I wore my thrifted beige kitten heels with some skin-colored socks. The belt is another one of my Goodwill bin finds. And the last outfit, without a belt, unremarkable, quotidian, crude. With a belt, deliberate, sophisticated, astute. For this simple outfit, I just wore a simple black mock neck top, my favorite rag and bone sandals, and the belt was actually a gift from Mom. Thank you guys so much for watching another one of my little sewing projects. So lo and behold, I did not ruin the skirt. I actually really like how the belt loops turned out. I wore the skirt twice this week already, so I think the addition of belt loops is definitely going to increase its wear frequency. When I was rewatching the footage, I realized that one of the belt loops was a little bit off center. So I took it apart and I sewed it back on, and now they're symmetrical. I also added a top stitch on the bottom of the belt loop just to kind of like shrink that distance so that the belt can stay put a little bit better, because I realized that the belt loops were actually a little bit too long. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty satisfied with these belt loops. I highly recommend add some belt loops to your skirt, step up your skirt game. I have another thrift flip video that I'm already working on, so I'll be posting that one in a couple weeks, and I'll see you then. Bye.